What a day for writing! Okay, so let me catch you up. I started this day by getting together with a local group of poets for a poets meetup, and it was the most fun, inspiring, fantastic way to start the day. It was so cool. Everybody shared a little bit of their work and we talk about it, and it was just the coolest thing to meet other poets in the area and hear all these different voices. I loved it, and I can't wait for the next get together. I shared a little bit of my horror poem, which was, well received. People liked the rhyming, and I was glad about that. But I didn't share everything I've written because that would take like half an hour to read. But that was just such a great way to start the day. I read the prelude for the horror poem, which I'll share with you sometime. It just sets up the whole story. But then I spoke to Jill, my collaborator for the musical, and just got so inspired by that conversation with her. But then I came home to work on this stuff, and I'm trying to write this tune for the musical, a big finale number, something really uplifting and great. And I have a melody that I think I like a lot, but I have not been able to fit the words to it. And at some point, I might have to go with another melody if I just can't find the right words. But I also have time. I'm going to just let it marinate for a while. But I was really trying to make progress on that today, and I was actually being so inspired from the Poets Meetup and the call with Jill, and then to come back and not be able to produce was extremely frustrating. And when I get frustrated like that, the best thing to do is walk away for a while, and in this case I walked away by switching to another project. And so I went back to the horror poem and picked up where I left off yesterday. And if you remember yesterday, we were talking about this line about comparing the parking garage to a Japanese rock garden or Zen garden, and I wasn't sure which way to go with that. And what I thought about today that I really wanted to do was to use this image of the hourglass, because I was, in using a reference to the Japanese rock garden, I wanted to bring in some of the language of raking the sand, and I wanted to bring in the word sand. And then sand made me think of the hourglass, and I thought that's perfect, because the hourglass is a fantastic image, because just like the hourglass sort of fills and empties, the garage fills and empties, and looking at the garage helps me clear my head. There's like the sand emptying out of the hourglass. And so I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to say all that in my meter with the rhyming. And it just brings me to a really important part of my writing process, which is I believe so strongly you have to know what you want to say before you figure out how to say it. Never let the how dictate the what. Always make the what dictate the how. And what can happen is if you don't know what you're trying to say, you're just starting to look for rhymes and sounds, and you write something that sounds good but doesn't say what you meant to say, or can lead you in a direction that you didn't intend. Sometimes that can be freeing, you have to be flexible, but I don't think that's a smart way to write. So I had this idea of the image of the hourglass and emptying out and trying to work that in, and I'm still working on it. I haven't quite done. I'm going to work some more tonight. But I did make a little bit of a change to what I wrote yesterday. Yesterday I wrote, I liked the view, especially at night, the concrete lit by orange bulbs and naked, raked with yellow paint that fit, and I wrote yesterday, that fit unequal cars in equal spaces, tranquil as a rock garden. And I've always been a little bothered by that line, always, since yesterday, been bothered by that line, unequal cars in equal spaces, because it sounds like it should be important. It sounds a little fancy and it draws attention to itself. It's not. It has nothing to do with what I'm trying to say. And so it's better to avoid that kind of thing that sounds like it must mean something if you don't really mean it to mean anything, because it just steals attention away from the stuff that does mean something. And that line never quite, that line didn't sit right, and for a day I kind of let myself get away with it. And another thing I think about good writing is knowing when you're letting yourself get away with something and then saying, no, I'm not going to let that happen. So I changed it. And what I have now is, I liked the view, especially at night, the concrete lit by orange bulbs and naked, raked with the yellow paint that knit, not fit, but knit, a pattern on the pavement. I was a little sad to lose the word spaces there because spaces had the same vowel sound as naked, by orange bulbs and naked, raked with yellow paint that knit, that fit unequal cars in equal spaces. I like that vowel sound, but I got rid of it. Now I have this P sound that keeps coming back. Raked with yellow paint that knit a pattern on the pavement. It would put my mind at ease, there's the rhyme, to look out on that place, there's that A sound from spaces, I just pushed it back in line, as tranquil as a Japanese rock garden. So now the rhyme is not rock or zen, it's Japanese rhyming with ease. So just to gear that all together, and I'll back it up a little bit. I'll say, at times like those, this you haven't heard yet, but at times like those when I could feel the pressure on my skull mounting, when my swelling brain was desperate for a lull, idly I'd look out those giant windows facing east and feel as if a safety valve within me had released. A little higher up and I'd have had a stellar view of Center City. As it was, I only saw the new garage, which every morning swallowed up a tidy fleet of cars and every evening spat them back onto the street. I liked the view, especially at night, the concrete lit by orange bulbs and naked, raked with yellow paint that knit a pattern on the pavement. It would put my mind at ease to look out on that place, as tranquil as a Japanese rock garden, keeping time by filling up and voiding, then the way an hourglass is turned to fill again, and this is what I'm still sort of working out. I've been playing with this language, trying to get that hourglass image and tying it to my head emptying out and tying it to the garage emptying out and trying to do a lot in a little space but not making it feel too dense. So that's what I'm working on. Tomorrow I need to work on my YouTube series American Popular Song Today. I really just want to keep working on this. I need to find time to submit other things that I've written. The poetry group this morning really inspired me to submit work that I've done, and I spent some time today revisiting a poem I wrote about old people in the garden. How old people are always gardening is the opening of the poem. And I thought I should submit that somewhere. So maybe tomorrow I'll do that. But I really just want to keep working on this image, so I'll do that tonight. Hopefully I'll have some resolution with the hourglass image. Then I can work on American Popular Song Today tomorrow. Work on the musical, try to make some progress there. I really want that song to come through if I can. And that's it. There's a lot to do. I feel like I've never been busier. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope this was interesting, insightful, and fun. Bye. Oh, also, I made cookies. They're good. Okay.